What's up, guys? It's Chris. Welcome to VHB News. So, if you're a car person, there's a good chance that you've heard some topics that are like they're staples to the community, things that people say that have been around for a long time, like long sayings. And some of these long time standing sayings aren't necessarily true, kind of false statements. But still, people fall back on it nonetheless. One of these things was a pet peeve of mine for a long time. I guess technically still is. That doesn't get to me as much as it used to back in the day. It was the term like fully built engine. Because I can always point to one thing that's almost guaranteed that nobody ever changes. That's always going to be stock. And that's the crank. Because you have a forged crank in there. Is a knife edge or anything? No, not fully built then. All right. Most people do pistons, rods, and springs and retainers and they say it's fully built when it's not. Because fully built implies that everything in the engine that can be modified has been modified. Most people do not do that, so that is in fact a false statement. Another one of those things that come to mind, and one of these things I try to explain to everybody all the time, and the fact that I've said this so many times over the years that I figured I thought that I maybe already made a video on it, and I think I may have made something similar along the lines, but I couldn't find it, so I'm making it again. And that is the bulletproof engine, right? The term bulletproof engine. That is the implication that this engine is so built that it cannot break, it cannot blow up. And that is not the case. It's one of those things that I don't say that I'm not trying to imply that people hide it, because that's, I know plenty of people that you can see that happen. And you just have to realize that anytime you build a dedicated race engine, or anytime you build an engine for performance, the whole point of building it is to abuse it. You want to make it stronger so you can shove more power into it than it was made for, and you're also going to be using that power. And while you do have power limitations on these parts, so if you keep it within the recommended power limits, you should last for a while. But don't expect that the fact that you're never going to build that engine again. This is not a regular car at that point anymore. Don't expect 100,000 miles out of it. I'm not saying it's impossible to get it, but don't expect it. The way I've always told people is anytime you modify an engine, anytime you do anything for performance, if you could get 2 years out of that engine, that's a good thing. Now, that's the reason why you'll see people from time to time talk about, oh, I got 5 years on this build or whatnot. That's impressive. Of course, it's impressive depending on how often that car's been driven, how hard that car's been driven, how many times it's just spent not being touched in the driveway or whatnot, all these things. But I know that a lot of people, because it's another thing that I have touched on before was overbuilding your engine. And there's a lot of people that say, my goal is 350 horsepower, but I'm building with this such and such part, or I'm doing CSS because I just want it to last. Just because you're stopping at the power levels that's well under what you expect it to be able to hold doesn't mean that shit still can't fail. So just think about that and consider that when it goes into your budget for building. And also, again, I'll recommend you not building your daily driver for abuse. Yes, you can. But if you're not the one doing the labor yourself and you're paying somebody, I would consider definitely buying a secondary car if you're going to be potentially spending thousands of dollars to get it up and running. All right, so again, real quick topic here, and it's amazing because it took me like 4 times to make this fucking video. But just definitely something to consider when you're thinking about spending money on building a race car, building a race engine for your car, or doing any kind of modification for your car. If you're a modest dude working on a budget and you want to be faster or whatnot, then you may want to just consider doing a basic engine swap. If you're a single cam guy and you want a little bit more power, swap out to a B20. It's still a pretty good budget for that, and it's not so labor intensive. It's pretty easy. It's pretty cookie cutter. So I would just recommend something like that before considering spending several $1,000s on a built block, built head, or whatnot. So hope that's helpful for any of you guys that are potentially thinking about spending some big money, especially as we come into tax season. And yeah, that's it for this one. Social media links in the description down below if you guys have any questions for me. And peace. Thanks for watching.